Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's installment of Psychology Throughout the Centuries. In today's episode, we're interviewing Edward Titchener. Edward, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I was born in England in 1867, but I spent much of my independent career in New York. My mentor, Wilhelm Wundt, influenced much of my study, but due to some differences in perspective, I went on to America to put my own spin on his work and spread my version, the superior version of structuralism. Spill the tea. What kinds of differences led to your breakup? I mean, professional separation. I sought out a more open-minded environment. If I had stayed in Europe, I might not have had as many opportunities to grow under Wundt. American universities sought out and hired scholars from abroad. It was the perfect place for me. I also left Europe behind because I largely disagreed with my mentor's ideas of structuralism. His underdeveloped voluntarism simply was not my cup of tea, and he and I had our disagreements on introspection. His work involved more creative synthesis and a perception, while I emphasized more reliable, measurable approaches to introspection. So, there you have it. I left Europe behind for the bright lights of New York, where I worked at Cornell University for the remainder of my career. Sounds like it was a rocky breakup. I mean, professional separation. You have my respect for splitting off and starting anew. I would love to hear more about your unique approach to structuralism. Absolutely. I believed individual experiences could be analyzed objectively. Every aspect of an experience can be measured and documented. The emotions, images, sensations, everything. Actually, this approach to introspection is a great segue into another important aspect that distinguishes my work from Wundt's, my idea of the stimulus error, which is when someone's sensory experience of a stimulus is influenced by prior knowledge rather than the sensations evoked. For example, if someone was asked to evaluate the sweetness of a candy and their response was influenced by external factors rather than just taste, that would be a stimulus error. Wow, I visited Hot Take City and everyone there knew you. You have so many unique perspectives. Did you pass on your thoughts and teachings to anyone else? I thought you'd never ask. Yes, I did pass on some of my work to the next generation. I founded a group called the Experimental Psychologists. I had this genius idea of only inviting men to join the group. Did I mention that the men who joined the group were only allowed to study what I was studying? That aside, I did take on one outstanding woman as a graduate student. You might recognize the name Margaret Washburn. How bold of you to go against the sexist zeitgeist of the time. So that means that Margaret Washburn proved herself as a woman worthy of being equal to men and successfully challenged misogynistic norms with her iconic feminism? No. Wherever did you get this idea of men and women being equals? This is the early 20th century we're talking about. I did the opposite of include. I excluded her. I didn't invite her to join the experimental psychologists, the group that I founded, because she was a woman, and there was nothing unique women could contribute to the group that would enrich its value. Don't make me laugh. So, shifting topics back to me, another thing you should know about me was that I was quite aloof. I kept mostly to myself, so I did not join the APA. Coincidentally, it was founded in the same year I came to America, in 1892. Huh. Someone who studies human behavior who distances himself from humans? How ironic. Could you speak about what you were most celebrated for? Is there anything you would go back and change about your life and your accomplishments? That's a very thoughtful question. Thank you for asking. History sees the founding of structuralism as something that both Wundt and I contributed to. Additionally, history recognizes that Wundt and I's biggest achievement was defining psychology as an experimental science. We hypothesized, observed, and measured outcomes, just like good scientists do. This was significant because it paved the way for more systematic and empirical research in psychology. If I had to change anything about my life, maybe I would have joined the American Psychological Association. I could have furthered my view of structuralism on a larger scale and played a bigger role in propagating the study of psychology in America. But this sadly did not come to fruition. Instead, I died of a brain tumor at the tender age of 60. Well, that's about all we have time for today. Thank you, Edward, for joining us. And I'm so sorry to hear about the brain tumor. My condolences. Good luck with everything. And thank you everyone for tuning into this installment of Psychology Throughout the Centuries. We'll see you next time.